So tonight we'll talk about truthfulness. I thought I would start in the book and kind of go from there. The truthfulness, Sacca Parami, the synonyms for truthfulness: honesty, being real or genuine. Characteristic of truthfulness is non-deceptiveness. Yeah? So this is a bit like last week when we talked about loving kindness. You can talk about loving kindness like that feeling of acceptance or allowance, a warmth, a friendliness, a goodwill. But technically, according to Buddha's definition, loving kindness is non-hatred. It's the lack of something. Loving kindness is without hatred, without resistance, without judgment. Yeah? So it's a doing away of, or a doing away with something. Loving kindness is like when all of that is gone, the space that remains is loving kindness. So same thing with truthfulness. It's a non-deceptiveness, not deceiving oneself and others. So how can you tell if something is truthful? There's no non-truth in it. There's no deceptiveness in it. Truthfulness functions to cultivate authenticity. I would say it functions also to create that integrity, that inner alignment, right? So we start to be able to trust when we say we're going to do something. We find that we can follow through because we're clear on what we're capable of. We're clear on where we want to go. And so we start to become the person that we want to be, like ideally, I wish I was kind. I wish I was generous. I wish I was loving. Why am I not? So truthfulness is going to bring us in line, because first we have to see all the ways that we're not who we think we are, who we think we want to be, So we bring ourselves into alignment or integrity, and truthfulness is what creates that. It develops into impeccability, excellence, and trustworthiness. So direct cause of truthfulness is honesty and a capacity to be fully present with our experience. So this is one reason why I like truthfulness in this position. So classically, it's the 7th far-reaching attitude, but in this presentation from Thanissaro Bhikkhu, this comes third. So when we did the meditation tonight, I introduced, recapped, reviewed. We want to understand the context and have some determination about where we're going. There's a reason we're here, meaning literally here doing the 100 days of care, right? You found yourself here for some combination of reasons. Yeah. It means some wisdom is operating. You've tried everything else, so determination is that, okay, I'm going to see what's really going on. I'm going to start to get interested or inquire. Loving kindness creates enough safety for us to then start to get really honest, start to cultivate truthfulness. Yeah, and it leads right into next week's, or the next 10-day section, is that ethical discipline. So we're going to start to touch on that discipline tonight, because truth and alignment has to do with having some discipline. So the 2 features that we're interested in is to start to notice what we're thinking and saying and doing, and then course correct. Yeah, so the ways where we're being harmful with ourselves or others, deceptive, we're going to stop doing that. Why? Because it doesn't lead anywhere good, right? So the directions around truthfulness and speech, right speech, in what ways are you lying to yourself? When do you lie to yourself, and when are you lying to others? And this is all of it. This is all the deception. Like, I'm not going to say what I really think because I don't want to hurt their feelings. Yeah, so the lies of omission, the little white lies that we tell. Oh yeah, I ran into traffic. The bridge was up. The bridge was up. Yeah, probably it was. Yeah. But maybe sometimes we've said it was up when it wasn't really. We just, didn't get out the door on time. Yeah. So in what ways do we try to make ourselves and others more comfortable by deceiving? So lying, harsh or divisive speech, gossip. So speech is a wonderful way to look at this, but we're also looking at that inner speech. So like I mentioned, the ways we lie to ourselves to make ourselves more comfortable as well. And, so externally, something like gossip, how often do you find yourself talking about somebody else's business? Right? During the day, maybe you work in a place where there's some downtime and you're just going to go tell your work neighbor what you think about the new directive from the boss or the boss themselves, or talking to the neighbors. Are you talking about the other neighbors? So again, you might have reason to talk about people, but you need to start to look at those reasons. Is it idle gossip? You can't be quiet. You can't just listen. So you have to start telling a story about something. Yeah. So you might be trying to make yourself comfortable or others comfortable because you don't want any awkward silence. So it could be as innocent as that. Or you might find, if you start to look, that you get a little rise out of gossip. I've got the juicy details. I can captivate somebody's attention, or I can get a little reaction here. Well, who did you hear? Yeah. So again, why are you engaging in it? It's yeah, and divisive speech. So this is where we're gossiping, and the way in which we're talking is dividing people. Like, did you hear that so and so did this? Or how, look what they did to me. So you're clouding somebody else's view of another person by telling a story a certain way. Yeah. So why does it matter? Because you want to start to pay attention to where that type of speech leads you. Or if you think of it just as an internal thing, like, what do you spend your time thinking about? Oh, all the hard things that are going on in my life, all the problems in my life, I have to think about that. Yeah. We get into these thoughts come and we get involved with them. So this is kind of an inner harsh speech or gossip that is it onward leading? Is it uplifting? It's binding us. So it's not that we don't need to talk about whether it's true or not in any external way, like verifiable, like she really did do this. Yeah. It really is bad. It really is hard. It may or may not be, but is that useful? The way that you're allowing thoughts and speech to form your reality and your beliefs about reality, is it leading you onward to that openness, to loving kindness? Yeah. And you might see this around your mantra every morning when you go to write in your book, especially if you're doing kind of a little different every day. So it's not just rote. You're not just like, yep, that's my mantra from day one, and you're just copying it out and not really feeling it. If you're allowing it to evolve and you're like, what do I need to hear today? What does my heart need today? Then you might tune into this. You might notice. You wake up, you get your book out, and you're like, I am not happy today. I don't want to do the things I have to do today, or like we're in a mood, the mind is agitated and rough, right? Well, you're not writing that down as your mantra, right? Because we're cultivating this loving kindness. So you have to come up with the mantra, and you, even if you are using the same one, you write it out and you start to recite it, and you want to look, how does that change the heart? Or if you're doing the section with the gratitudes, that kind of grumbly, grumpy, constant disappointment. We're forced to look at something uplifting. What is going well? What is going good? And you see how that shifts. So you could think how it shifts the mood in the mind and the heart, what you focus on, right? So it's like a re-engineering. In this moment, everything actually has no quality from its own side. It takes on the quality based on the story we're telling. Mostly the story we're telling is about me, yeah? And whether we like it or don't like it, how it's going for us. Yeah? The government that I don't like is in charge, so I can't be happy. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Why would we do that to ourselves? My neighbor is doing something I don't like, so I can't be happy. It's crazy. It's a prison, right? So you start with, I'm free. I'm absolutely free in this moment. I'm completely unbounded. I can direct my attention toward whatever I want to direct it toward. I choose love. I choose honesty and kindness. And this is on the progressive path, you could say, or the gradual path. This is a softening the edges and softening, releasing the reactivity. Instead of just being reactive, I don't like this and I don't like that, we're actively creating the world we want to inhabit. I am enough. I am peaceful and content. I look around and I see people who are enough. They don't need to change for me to love them. They don't need to change for me to be happy. I can just be content in this moment. Huh? You see how powerful this is? Yeah. So truthfulness involves this seeing more and more clearly how the conditioning is unfolding. So how do we practice truthfulness? We become increasingly honest about what we are actually thinking, feeling, and believing, as opposed to our idealized or internalized feeling or version of what we think should be happening. Okay, so this is the dropping of the story. I'm supposed to be a good girl. I'm supposed to be quiet. Whatever the script is that is operating there in the mind, we want to look at it. What do we do? What are we like? Well, I know I'm supposed to be a good friend, but am I a good friend? I'm supposed to be generous. Am I generous? And you start to watch. And this is not generosity like I gave $10,000 last year to charity. This is generosity like, in this moment, do I have time to listen to this person speaking to me? Can I give them my full attention? In this moment, can I, can I find an opportunity to give? Mm. So you start to watch yourself like an experiment. Yeah. So you're like kind of outside watching your character. What does your character actually do all day? What kind of thoughts are going on? What kind of speech are you uh, involved in? And what kind of activity or action? Because actually, there was a quote today, I think, from the not waking up, yeah, waking up app, the Sam Harris app from John Paul Sartre, who was almost a Buddhist. He had the emptiness part down, but not maybe the compassion. Anyway, he said, we are our life. We're nothing more than our life. Yeah? So are you doing, are the activities, the thoughts and the speech and the activities that you're engaged in, are you doing what you want to do? Are you being who you want to be? Or are you just being pushed around? So I think we talked about this in the opening sessions. Like if you want to be a meditator, meditate. If you want to be a painter, paint. Do the things that you want to do. And when you try to start this process, when you start this process, when you undertake it, then you start to see, oh, actually, I'm not in alignment at all. I say I want to get fit, but I just sit here on the couch. Yeah, so you just start doing the things. Does this make sense? You just start doing it. Just put your shoes on and go out for a walk. You're somebody who walks. Just start saying kind words of encouragement to the people around you, or loving words, or giving compliments, smiling at people, like Nicholas was talking about last week. Just start doing it, a kind of fake it till you make it, and it'll come into alignment. You're going to shift both sides of it. This is not an objection that Michael is actively making this moment, but that's Mike, my husband. But what does this have to do with ultimate truth or like the freedom that's the full freedom that's available? Like, we don't want to just improve this. This is not just a self-improvement project. It's as we undertake the different far-reaching attitudes, so the loving kindness and the truthfulness, and we bring ourselves into alignment, the drama diminishes. And so we stop allowing ourselves to indulge in gossip and divisive speech, and we practice actually speech that is loving and connective. And it's like the turbulence in our heart and the turbulence in our mind starts to settle. When it's settled, we can see more clearly. We have more energy. We're relaxed. We're open. We're not looking for enemies because we've decided there are none. We're practicing love. We're practicing acceptance. And so the calmness allows us that ability to investigate more deeply what is going on here. Yeah. So I'm going on a little too long, I think. I said we were going to have a discussion, so I think let's do that.